This is Michael André Ford in Austin, Texas, an angel intuitive who helps others let go to do it all. You take your own steps. You have to own just getting out of your head what you know long enough to be in your heart, do basic listening, seeing, feeling. And again, once you've owned it individually, you can do it with someone else who's had the same experience. This is full-on seeing, connecting to the universe with no barriers, no obstacles, anything like that. If you're too busy knowing, judging, reacting, fearing, stressing, worrying, all the thinking stuff, the thinking, the majority of thinking is a waste of energy. It doesn't get anything done. We're all going to do plenty of it. I do plenty of thinking. Every single person I've met for the last 10 years does tons of thinking. I think the secret to success, though, would be to do a little less thinking. Pumping the brakes. I believe angels have said 7% less thinking is the Olympic gold medal for all of us. It's just not in the cards for humanity to stop cold turkey on thinking. That said, this little brief video is on 2 different books. I'm going to start with my longer book, Glowstick Zen. You'll rarely ever hear about it. It's something that I wrote back 10 years ago probably in very short order, but it's a super long book. I will never do this again. It's at least 1,700 to 1,900 pages. On Amazon, it's broken into 22 books, I think $10 a piece or $9.99. On Apple, you can get the whole big thing. Now, if you think I wrote it again, I say thank you. Anything that's the bad part, the zany part, or the super funny but ridiculous part, that's me. I definitely did a third of this one according to Angels, Mary, and so on. But the crew, that big universal crew of unconditional love that everybody gets to meet, see, hear, feel, get direct answers, all languages, all dialects. If you're from Japan, get it in Japanese. That crew actually did most of that book. I've got a guy in Norway who's been plowing through the books and just really has heaped a lot of praise on those. So that's good. I will also read something, though, from the short little Listening to Angels book. That was 100% written by angels. I'd love to say that gentle little piece of writing is something that I did, but I was seeing balls of light as I was typing at the time and just kind of getting it verbatim. And again, it's a super short, beautiful little book. I encourage you to get that one. It's $4.99. Probably would take you 15 to 25 minutes to read. There are photos of angels in that one, and I don't know. I think it's a fun book. I think the appendix is the best part of that book, or the epilogue by an angel named Dale. So what I wanted to do is just read the prologue. It's only maybe a page and a half from that 1,900-page book, and I think it's even 2,200 pages if your font is bigger or you're doing a different sort of reader, electronic reader out there. It could be more pages than that. But Glowstick Zen is a very special book. If anyone wants to make that trek up the mountain, and that mountain, that distant trek, is literally the distance you go from here to drop down to here. Now, for some of us, it's a lifetime. For others, you got to go to India and do the ashram thing. You got to go to Machu Picchu. But I'm inviting you to actually realize that it is much simpler than we ever make it out to be. In fact, if I back up for a second, in 10 years of doing this, I've done tons of outreach for coffee, for tea, virtual introductions, and so on. I've met tons of folks. Let's say there's 4,000 different causes out there. The search for extraterrestrial life, the near-death experience crowd, the Buddhist communities. There's literally consciousness, mindfulness, meditation. There's a lot of different folks who hang their hats on a lot of different causes, topics. They have certain areas of expertise and so on. So what I've always enjoyed is the book Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. Now, Robert Perssig's not anybody that I actually got to meet. He has since passed over, but I did get to talk to one of his closest helpers. And he was still alive, but on his deathbed at the time. The quote that I love, that stands out the most, that still applies to what I've been experiencing this whole time is, and forgive me for using the word truth here because it's kind of off base, but the truth goes knocking on the door and someone on the other side of the door says, "Go away, I'm looking for the truth." Now, I don't mean by that I'm offering any truths. I try not to tell anybody anything. I think the greatest act is helping a person sort of unlock out of the brain, out of Plato's cave, to drop to their heart where all is completely open and possible. There are no limits. And then a person gets all of their answers for life, relationships, health, career, you name it, for their pursuits, extraterrestrial life, and so on. They get those answers, but they quickly realize that getting a hug's a pretty good thing too. And you get your hugs, those can become healing. There's 100 plus angels, about 170 figures, a lot of religious figures, but non-religious figures too. This isn't about religion. It's about strictly unconditional love, the universal flow, life itself, being in your heart, letting go, getting out of all the judging, reacting, fear, worry, stress that is a constant for most of us. It's how we limit ourselves, limit our happiness. You don't have to have any reason to be happy in this very moment right now. And I've had people argue that. So I think humans are incredibly capable in so many ways. I think we've got unlimited potential as well. Now, think of the 18, 22-year-old out of college sitting in someone's basement and they don't have a job. They've got unlimited potential too. So I am saying this in a complimentary way. I've got unlimited potential for growth. I think a sense of humor for me is what keeps me sane interacting with so many people. But what I was trying to say is if you go to an angel group and you're like, hey, do you want to meet angels? You get to see full on, whether it's in your house, in a building, down a hallway, out the window on a sunny day, or you can go for a walk with a couple angels, Geronimo, Buddha, Jesus. Now that's a lot for any brain to take in, especially nowadays when we're in the business of knowing and there's so much science. But no limits here at all. So if you offer a group a chance to meet angels, odds are they're just not going to be able to even hear it. There's a lot of levels of consciousness. There's tons of unconsciousness. That's what most of our thinking is. We like to have everything sort of in a knowable way, and we like to go on big quests. And that's why that Glowstick Zen book is so pretty. We think it's a giant trek up the mountain, and I've given you probably 22 or 23 chapters and a long amount of reading, so you're committed. You get through that, it's almost guaranteed your thinking's going to get stripped away, and you're going to go, aha, at some point throughout that book, and you're going to get opened up a little. Here's the prologue from that book. And again, it's very short, but welcome to Glowstick Zen, an unconditional love-based, Zen-centric philosophy meant to help open hearts, perspectives, and minds. This book can assist you in unlocking you and all your potential. This is your life path. Only you can take each step, and there's a difference between knowing the path and experiencing it. First, you must find your path and then awaken to it. Let Glowstick Zen, the book, show you methods to go within to get that experience. How can you learn ways to harmonize with life? There are tens of thousands of habits a person can try to cultivate to live more fully. Glowstick Zen focuses on one where there really is no such thing as try, where ultimately there is only one path, that of unconditional love. For when you accept yourself as you are, those around you for who they are, and the world as it is, you have removed most of the barriers preventing full living. You breathe more fully, you feel the universe, you absorb insight from within, you relax and learn, you awaken to a bigger reality. I love that part. Glowstick Zen explores how humans handle life and offers simple means to expand your presence in life by trying less and letting go more. It's about finding unconditional love in all you do, feeling with your heart, giving and sharing love, understanding in your own way at your pace that everything really is connected and you are unique. That you are a rock star and already have every instrument within to be successful and balanced. Simply be. Then you may find a new stage in life from which to play in harmony and shine like the star within you already are. Be. Why glow sticks? Glow sticks bring smiles to people. They are tiny devices that literally help people breathe easier, relax, and glow. Glowstick Zen will show you how to be one with the glow stick. Had to do some humor here, but it's a legitimate exercise. Glowstick Zen teaches harmony with life. You may live a more full life at any point of your choosing. There are only a few basic concepts in the book to mull over. Belief is power. Letting go is power. Catching your thoughts before you accept them as fact is power. Embracing the opportunity to explore yourself, one of the scariest things for all of us to do. I think Peaceful Warrior, the movie, a big shout out to Dan Millman. Check out his movie, gymnastics movie, Safe. No one wants to go to here. I see that all the time. Even if you've met angels, a week later you might retreat out of here. You're not used to opening openness and go back up to here. So belief is power. Letting go is power. Catching your thoughts before you accept them as fact is power. Embracing the opportunity to explore yourself, others, and the world around you as it really is power. And finally, that unconditional love is shiny, infinite, inspiring, and that it is already within you. 1,000,000%. So get ready, release needless worry and thoughts, and let Glowstick Zen take you somewhere new, exciting, and brilliant. Of course, you'll want to have a glow stick bracelet illuminating your wrist. Get ready to do seeing without seeing. Get ready to comprehend more around you daily. There's always more than meets the eye around us. Look around now, find one single thing that catches your eye to marvel over. Go ahead, do it. The world with its mysterious ways is much bigger than any of us can ever really imagine. In a Washington Post article dated September 9th, 2012, Reverend Susan Brooks Thistlethwaite wrote, quote, after more than 30 years of teaching religion, I've concluded that all religion, not just my own Christian faith, is about finding answers to two questions. Am I alone? And what can I trust? I thought that was a beautiful quote. Final paragraph here. Philosophers, great leaders, and man in general over the course of all of history have spent countless hours on these eternal and external questions trying to grasp what cannot be grasped, or can it? Your path and life. Only you can decide the answers. Glowstick Zen declares now, we are not alone. Trust your heart, trust in love. So I thought that was a beautiful, beautiful prologue, super short, page and a half electronic, and then you'd have 1,900 to 2,200 pages to plow through. That is 2/3 written by unconditional love figures beyond our human thinking. If you want to talk multidimensional, fine. In you, around you, love is, and so are those figures, whether it's your passed over relatives, angels, Mary, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Plato, Socrates, whoever. You would simply have to step out of what you know long enough to try out the pool, and the pool is unconditional love itself. The first one, the 11 minutes, 48 seconds, whatever it is a little bit of an angel talk. I think I also mentioned the Omega Institute event from July that was a success. 3 days of people getting more than 300 plus answers personally over 3 days. They did listening and writing that way. It was all direct. I didn't see the questions or answers. It was hard to get people to cough up some just generic responses, but when they did, they had fun. I find that a lot of those answers after 10 years of doing this, and I don't know, 40,000 answers, a lot of this stuff is very sacred, very special, very touching. It applies to us all. Now, if it's about Uncle Joe or Aunt Sarah and it's private stuff, you don't want to share that, so don't share it. Meanwhile, the event went well. I thought some fun highlights, which I just have to mention, would be like the third day. You wouldn't want to be a passerby or walking along and see the crowd outside. I was bringing people inside, outside. People needed it on the Saturday. We started Friday night. Saturday, there was a lot of transformative stuff that goes on. I mean, if you're carrying baggage around, you've had a deceased relative, you've just got laid off, you've got a health issue, you think you've never blah, 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 that's big baggage, and it can take a long time to release it. It's angels coming in. You're getting help whether you realize it or not. You might laugh, you might cry, you might yawn a lot. I think the record is 4 hours of straight yawning. It's a release. So look, a lot of stuff happens very directly. I just kind of bring you the experience. And then there were a lot of people going through a lot of transformational stuff, and they had to get their feet on the ground outside, go touch a tree, sit on a bench, enjoy the sunshine, and so on. But by the third day, oh my gosh, it was like a lot of fun watching people get outside. They were seeing their energy flows, colored lights, their consciousness flowing between them. It's how we all connect. Workers in a restaurant who get along in the kitchen, athletes on a soccer field in a professional team, Manchester United. They're connected. They're acting as one with the soccer ball if they're a good team and having a good season. They were seeing those flows, plus angels were coming in and bringing little gifts. You have to invite that. You have to let go long enough to actually get that far. It's 60 little steps of letting go. So to show you how slow I am as a psychic, and again, I try not to ever tell you a single thing. I might see exactly where you are, but what would be the point of hearing it from another human being when I can't compete with the likes of Mother Teresa, Jesus, Mary, Buddha, 100 plus angels, your guardian angel, Gandhi, Einstein, and so on. It's a really cool cast of characters. They do a much better job of just telling you how it is. You just have to do your own listening. So I come up to one person and I'm just getting this. I'm like, hey, why don't you have a hummingbird made out of rainbow light, shimmering, it's angel light. So there's not a real hummingbird that's 50 colors at once. Why don't you have angels bring you a hummingbird? And she says to me, I already just got that. And I'm like, oh my God, of course you did. I had 2 women who got to see Joy, the very first angel everybody meets. Go to my website, check out the photos of angels. Historical photos, a wink, smile. We know that a photo of Audrey Hepburn can't possibly move, but allow for it. Also, the photos in angel light. If it's Joy, it's like a pink ball of light, but that photo will change colors and move. So there's an exercise for you to go have fun with. Two women got to jointly see Joy. I don't know if that was half a football field away. We were at the Juniper Room. This is down by the main hall to the left, out in the field. They got to see her, chat with her. And then there's something that's really fun. We'll call it angel meditation. You can have India come to you, an oasis, Native American setting. You sit with everybody. Even though it's India, it's not just India figures, Vishnu, Krishna, Ganesh, Lakshmi, and so on. It could be Native American chiefs. Your relatives are parked further back so you don't get distracted. Angels, of course, they make this all possible. And 5 minutes of our time is 10 minutes over there. So you can still get all your answers and so on, get hugs, have a healing ceremony, get whatever you need done. But it's with your eyes shut. Now, I'm a big eyes open guy, because there are no limits here. So you look in your backyard, you look across the street, you look down the hallway here, and you see angels full on with or without wings. You can meet light beings if you're the more scientist, universe, we're not alone type person. So ask your questions, get your answers, and so on. But one of the most fun things that I've offered over time, and I've probably had at least 100, 200 people do this, you can close your eyes, have Hawaii come to you, angels make it nice, they make the perfect waves, and you can surf like a professional, Kelly Slater. You just know what to do, and you have a great time. So what gets wild is I had two podcast hosts who are on the same show. They know each other. One West Coast, one East Coast, do it at the same time. Now this is going to be hard to grasp. 3-way Zoom, they're shutting their eyes, sitting like this, and they're seeing each other, sharing the same waves made by angels. No sharks, it's safe. They got to see each other while they're surfing. Now at the event at Omega, 3 people got to shut their eyes, and the whole class did it, but 3 people got to see each other while they were surfing. And so they sort of were in a mutual dream time, if we use the Aboriginal expression. Lucid dream, if you want to use the New Age expression or whatever that is. But this is more angel time. I'm not really keen on any of those expressions. This is something beyond what we know in sort of the linear fashion, thinking. The one-dimensional, there's time and all the rest. This is about going beyond time, beyond space, beyond our limits, beyond what we know. Not reacting, not fearing, not judging, not trying to figure everything out while you're in the middle of you're supposed to let go. So people had a wonderful time. It was super exciting. Back to the Glowstick Zen book. I shared the prologue of the super long, it's 22 chapters. You can buy each book individually at Amazon. And I suggest that if you want to go get book number 1, I think it's $9.99. Very few people will ever hear about the book. It was 2/3 written by the crew, 1/3 by me. Blame me if there's any bad parts of it. That book helps you let go. It's a super long path up a mountain. And I think it's Nietzsche or somebody said, or Jung said that the dog following you in your shadow, that's your ego. It's a chance to shed all of what you know and to lighten up a little bit. It's got some great metaphors in it. I think it's zany. I think it's fun. You can get the book if you're super gung-ho and don't care, you don't want to ever talk to me. Go get the book at Apple. It's one big book. I think it's 1,700, 1,900 pages, maybe 2,200 depending on your reader, the font size. I cranked it out in a short time. I was, again, seeing light around me, hearing, and I got 2/3 of the book is written by angels, Mary, the rest of the crew that's on my website. It's a beautiful book, but the prologue is my favorite part. It's a page and a half. So I took some time in the first video to read from that book, and now I'm going to actually read from my short little Listening to Angels book, which is all you really need. It's 100% written by angels. There's no way anybody reading this book could possibly think that I wrote it. I'm not flippant about stuff. I know it's special. I know it's sacred. But I try to take a very light touch to it. I try not to tell anybody anything. If anything, I'm enthusiasm. I clearly a lot of times see where people are at, and I can't say a word. It does no good for me to tell anybody anything. It's so much better that you do your own listening. Ditch the human, ditch the guru, ditch the seminars, the institutes, ditch all the outside sources of advice, wisdom, classes, and all the rest. You've got everything within. You have to just pump the brakes long enough to at least take a breath. And that reminds me of Mother Teresa's quote about compassion. There's 1,000 quotes about compassion. There's no one way to define compassion. But Mother Teresa had one of the best quotes maybe 4 years ago or so. She said, a deep compassion is like a deep breath, or would be a deep breath for many. We're so busy with what we would like to do, we don't get to it, that we have no time to slow down out of our thinking, which is the rat race itself. Conditional existence is up here. I help people drop down into their heart where everything is unconditional, where time doesn't apply the same way, and where there are no limits. You can get your answers directly, you can get the help you need, you can get a lot of the Samsonite luggage lifted off of you, and you can even go surfing with angels. So check out the first video if you've hit this one by mistake. I'm going to read from the Little Listening to Angels book that's $4.99 at my website, or at Amazon. It's amazon.com/author/angels. And it was number 2 in the angel category on April 30th of this year. That's 2022. And I think I was just behind Sonia Chiquette, but ahead of Kyle Gray and Hollywood medium Tyler Henry. So that was super exciting. So this book is written by angels. It's a 1-page forward, 1-page intro, which is really 3 paragraphs. We're talking electronic pages. 5 pages how to listen to angels. A little troubleshooting section, a little section on meeting the 7 angels that you're supposed to be listening to. I've got photos of angels. So Archangel Michael's in there, Joy, Charlotte, Min, Dale, and some others, Heather, Penelope. And then there's an appendix. Why angels now? The big picture. I thought that's the most exciting. I'm going to read at least a couple pages from that. And then there's a conclusion, 1 page, and an epilogue by an angel named Dale that's maybe 5 or 6 pages. He coached a famous Olympic athlete. He puts life into a metaphor of an undergraduate degree, graduate degree. You can find a lot of these things that I'm referencing on my social media pages, on my website, free. You can go read it rather than hear me read it out loud here. But here's the appendix. The big picture. This section is for anyone still asking questions. Well, let me jump to what's up with mankind, why angels now? Awareness for mankind is on the horizon. Call it a spiritual awakening if you wish. It's a chance for all to grow. Mankind is ready for more unconditional love and compassion for all. And more compassion by all, for all, is needed. Mankind is ready for change from rat race mode. Happiness is obtained in the absence of ego. Ego is afraid to be vulnerable, to let go, and to be in the unknown. Again, there's nothing to lose and nothing to gain. Move past seeing the negative. That's one of my favorite pieces of this whole book. Compassion can be taught through one's actions. How? Slowing down would do a world of wonder for most people. Doing it consistently is where the problems and opportunities lie. So stay present. Start right now. Letting go means less thinking. Do not get lost in perceived tasks, roles, ego, etc. I would add what you know, what you think you know, all your past experiences, your fears, your worries, your stress, I can't, and that life story that you pump more of your energy into on a daily basis that does nothing but limit you. You have no limits. I hate to break that news to you. Being in the moment is to do compassion for all. That's the headline here for the whole book. Being in the moment is to do compassion for all. For individuals, an egoless path would be great, but it's just not realistic. Allow ego to serve as a reminder when it pops up. A reminder for what? You decide. How about a reminder to breathe? How about a reminder to enjoy each moment as it comes? Believe that all moments can be the same. Now, we're going to continually do thinking. I've never met an enlightened being yet. I'm talking humans here on Earth. I've met people who claim that they're enlightened, but they're doing just as much thinking and resisting as me, you, anybody else watching this video. The magic amount of thinking each week that we could do less of is 7%. That's coming straight from an angel. I used to say 5%, 10%. I can't remember the details ever. Charlotte came in and talked to a client in the spring. It's 7%. You figure it out. That's like almost 2 hours or 2.5 hours a day less thinking. That could be a yoga mat and doing some yoga, going for a walk, petting your dog, taking an extra shower, exercising, reading a book. Get out of your brain, your stress, your positioning up here that's generally unconsciousness. It's generally negativity. It might only be this much, but there's very little thinking. Not all thinking's bad, but most of our thinking is a total waste of life. We're cutting ourselves off from the flow. We reduce our life flow to dental floss, whichever way you need to hear it. So whether it's a moment at work or a moment looking at nature, all moments are the same and peaceful. That's a constant. You've got love, unconditional love. You've got the universe, multidimensional, whichever way you want to look at this, inside you and around you constantly. But the second you get caught up on blank, that's a curse word, and then name an acronym or an organization. It could be the FBI, the NRA, name somebody. Whoever it is in the news these days that we want to say, F them. As soon as you do that, you haven't effed anybody. You've generated negativity for yourself, and you're breathing in that cloud of negativity. If you could only see your flows of energy when you're doing politics, when you're saying this state in America is bad to live in, like we hate California, we love Texas. We hate Texas, we love California. If you could only see the energy you were generating, which by the way you can completely see the flows. That's what people were doing outside on my third day. They were backing up to maybe 30 feet away, and you would have just giggled had you walked by and seen folks playing with their own energy flowing, consciousness flowing, life flowing back and forth between people. Yellow, gold, green, rainbow light. So you're constantly flowing energy. And the big opportunity in life is to recognize there's a huge difference when you're up here, rat race, conditional thinking, judging, fear, worry, stress, basically negativity. And when you're down here, awareness, unconditional love, being, to be or not to be. Shakespeare had it down. That's everything. And you can see those flows. And good luck if it's 2 hours a week that you remember to do any of this stuff. There's no going to sudden perfection. There's no such thing. Each moment is your opportunity, though, to pump the brakes on what you know up here to get to here and basically chillax. Okay, whether it's a moment at work or a moment looking at nature, all moments are the same and peaceful. Only thinking something can interfere with this. Likewise, there are not separate paths for mankind or separate worlds for individuals. One is one. Through awareness and owning the consequences of one's thoughts and actions, a person begins to see how all of life is truly interconnected in one. Faith in all can lead it to a change in mankind. This is the path for all of man. Now, faith, it could be religious, non-religious. To me, it's exactly the same thing. It's called letting go. Letting go of all the structure stuff. I think I know this. I'm concretely married, attached to this concept about my life, about this person, about that organization, you name it. You got to ditch what you know long enough to breathe and be happy for no reason at all. So faith in all can lead to a change in mankind. This is the path for all of man. This is about man bringing peace and joy to all. This is about your personal growth in your life and finding the next stage in your soul's development, as well as the continued evolution of mankind. The greatest gift is allowing. All is growth and change. This is frightening for some. There's nothing to do here. Slow down the doing. Instead, breathe, smile, and relax. Appreciate all. Compassion for all is life. This is also about acceptance for all. Regard others as yourself generously and without fixation. Believe in all. It is much simpler than people think. Again, this is because this is not about thinking, but less thinking. Open yourself up to life. Speak with us. That's angels talking here. Be. There is no time, we just are angels. They threw in an extra quote there. So if anyone thinks that I wrote that stuff, fantastic. Then I guess I'm a super genius on the spiritual level, and I'll have to get quicker out there on the circuit. But, I mean, hopefully it's pretty apparent that that's super fun writing from angels. It's angel writing. If you're ever having a bad day, you've read this book 5 times, it's great to go to on a daily basis for a little inspiration. It's a very light book, pun intended. But you're having a really bad day, you might find that you can't suddenly read the book anymore. It's a 15-minute read. But it's angel writing itself, so the ego side of us really wants to like hammer other people or hammer ourselves or to know stuff so that entire groups of people, maybe across the world or just across the country, are bad people. I mean, in a way, I still remember one of those quotes where there's no such thing as right or wrong. There's just proper understanding. That was angels that said that. Now, anybody who's thinking a lot and wants to challenge angels is going to be like, well, what about robbing banks? And that's, again, missing the point on all this. If you are aware in your heart, flowing a little bit of love, kindness, compassion, just 7% extra love, kindness, compassion a week, you're going to know better than to be like, hey, I want to go rob a bank. So it's not about that. There's just broader awareness, and then your actions are going to follow your heart and proper expenditure of energy. How about that? Well, look, that was a little brief bit from the Listening to Angels book. Go out and get it at Amazon. It's great to have electronically. It's great to pop into and get a little motivation. I still love one of the quotes from the book, which is, you can be happy now in this very moment for no reason at all. I still remember the few times over the last, let's say, 5 years that people have challenged me on that. They're so stuck that they're like, that's not possible. And that's okay. You're going to feel like that when you are stuck. The definition of being stuck is actually being stuck up here and thinking. It's unconsciousness. It's a lack of awareness. It's things are so fixed and concrete that you're actually suffering But you can let go of perspective at any point. And as soon as you let go, as soon as you shift your perspective, that perspective can change anything that you're looking at. That's a little bit of Wayne Dyer. So thank you very much.